Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast, a podcast carefully designed to introduce a wide range of very talented and highly skilled professionals ready to share their knowledge and advice with you. Please welcome the host of I Got a Guy podcast, Michael Drelicharz. Hello and welcome to I Got a Guy podcast. I'm your host, Michael Drelicharz. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your loyalty, your subscribing to the show, and listening to us each and every week. We have many loyal subscribers, and I hear from several of you throughout the week, so I really appreciate the words of encouragement and the comments about the different guests that we have. It really does help me know that we're serving the broader community. So thank you for your loyalty. Continue to share these podcasts with your friends and relatives and neighbors, whoever is in your circle of influence. We appreciate you sharing this information so we can help more people out. And we really try to help our guests out. And we want our guests to grow their businesses. And that's really the purpose behind this show. You know, as many of you know, this show was born out of reading a book called The Go-Giver. Go-Giver is a really interesting book talking about how businesses grow. And many people have this belief that small businesses grow through networking, which is very true. And there's many ways to network. There are private groups, networking groups. There are larger groups, trade associations and chambers of commerce that often have networking opportunities. There are bigger organizations like a BNI or LATIP, which are more structured organizations that have chapters throughout the country. All of these options are good options for small businesses to grow their business and grow their contacts and meet new people. But the most important aspect that comes out of this book called The Go-Giver is the point of networking is not about getting referrals, which may be contrary to some people's belief. But the reality is that the way you grow a small business is by giving referrals, hence the name The Go-Giver, as opposed to Go-Getter. So if you haven't read the book, The Go-Giver, I do encourage you to find it, download it on Audible or buy it on Amazon or go to your local library. It's a great story, great book, 5 important stories. And in the book, they have 5 laws of stratospheric success. And I often share the different laws with our episodes that pertain to our guest for the week. There's a law of value, there's a law of compensation, law of influence, law of authenticity, and law of receptivity. All these are really important laws, and they really are applicable. So I encourage you to look up The Go-Giver. The author is Bob Berg, and let me know what you think of the book. And if you want to catch up with any of our past episodes of the show, I encourage you to reach out to us via our website at igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. You'll see all of our past episodes and a list of our guests and a brief synopsis of each one of our guests. There will be a contact us page there on the website. If you want to reach out to us with any comments, you can certainly do it there. And if you are interested in being a guest on the show, you can put a mention in there in the comments section. And we can certainly reach out to you and make arrangements to have you on as a guest. Again, we love to meet new businesses and help everyone grow. So this week, for those of you that are on YouTube and Rumble, where you're watching our episode, and we really do appreciate that. That's a relatively new element to our podcast because we've been on the audio platform for many months. In the last few months, we've been actually broadcasting this and publishing this episode up on YouTube and Rumble. We're getting a lot of views there as well. So you can see us on YouTube and Rumble, and you can tell right now that I don't have anyone next to me. So our guest this week actually is my business, my primary business, my day job, if you will, which is Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. I host this show every week as a way to give back, help small businesses grow, and thank my loyal customers and my referral partners for their referrals and their business and their friendships over the years. But I'm taking the opportunity this week to talk about precise fleet tracking solutions and focusing on this business and I'm taking the opportunity to promote my business and get a little longer discussion about what we do at Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. So as we transition into this, let me get started by giving you a little bit of history about Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions has been in business for over 5 years now, and we've been helping small businesses and medium-sized businesses throughout the Chicagoland area and actually throughout the country. I have a number of clients scattered across the country, and we've been able to serve their needs very, very well. Primarily, most of our businesses are here in the Chicagoland area, and I have a few down in the Florida area, but I do have other businesses scattered around the country in Texas and Nevada, and Maryland, and Indiana, and Iowa, and Wisconsin, etc. So we have them scattered around different states, and glad to grow those businesses and help them as well. And we do a very, very good job serving those clients as we do our local clients. But the first thing I wanted to touch on is I wanted to kind of dispel a couple myths that are that surround GPS tracking. The first myth is that GPS tracking is Big Brother watching, and obviously that comment comes up from drivers more often than business owners, and the reality is that most business owners don't have the time to worry about all the new nuances and the minutia that go into each driver's daily routine as they're driving their vehicles around the area. So it's very, very seldom that I have a business that watches their drivers very, very closely through the GPS tracking technology. Usually this tracking technology is used on an exception basis or for specific purposes running their business. And we're going to get into some of those areas, but it's not to watch every right turn and left turn that every vehicle makes and every stop that they make, etc. So I want to dispel that myth that's out there and let people know that there are very, very specific business reasons that businesses deploy GPS tracking technology. And I encourage all businesses to deploy this technology, and I encourage this not just because it's my business, but I'm very passionate about the value that we provide businesses, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. So I do encourage every business that has a fleet of vehicles, even if it's one or two vehicles on the road, should have GPS tracking installed. If you have a logo on the outside of your vehicle, you should have a tracking unit inside the vehicle. And frankly, I also recommend a lot of families that have youthful drivers put GPS tracking in their vehicles. It's good, and we're going to talk about that as well. But it's a good way to know how your vehicles are being driven. The other myth that is often shared is that it's not necessary. Some businesses have been around for 30, 40 years and haven't used GPS tracking technology, and there's a belief that it's just not necessary. However, as you're going to hear from the discussion here and the things I'm going to share with you, there is so much data that's generated by our vehicles. And so we really work to provide the detail to our business owners so they can manage their business a little more efficiently. So those two myths, I want to dispel them, and we're going to share a lot of details here in the coming minutes that will further dispel those myths. Now, the first thing is that what oftentimes people use GPS tracking for is to know where their drivers are throughout the day. And it's not to nitpick on where they are every moment of the day. But when a business owner needs to reroute somebody or make a special pickup, or something changes in the day and they need a driver to make an extra stop, instead of calling 5 or 10 or 15 different drivers to find out where those drivers are and who can make this stop, they can look at a map very easily and identify which driver is closest to the location they need an extra pickup at, for example. So they can call one driver. It's much more efficient for the business to call one driver that might be closest to the extra pickup and ask them to stop over and make that pickup. It's also good to know when, if you're a company making deliveries, if your drivers are approaching their destination, when a customer calls and asks where their delivery is, rather than calling the driver and find out where they're at, they can look on a map and see that the driver might be just a few blocks away and they'll be arriving momentarily. So this data is really, really beneficial. And so we encourage these business owners to use this information, again, on an as-needed basis. They don't have to sit over their computer and monitor it all day, every day. These business owners and the management teams, they have a lot of other things going on in their business. This is a tool to use when necessary. But driver location is a big aspect. Driver behavior is another one that is growing in popularity. Driver behavior. When we talk about this, we can understand, based on the details from the GPS tracking unit, how fast the driver's driving. So we know their speed. We know if they're accelerating rapidly, or if they're braking harshly, if they're taking corners at higher speeds than they should. And what it really comes down to is driver safety. So business owners want to know that their drivers are driving safely, because the safer the drivers drive, the lower their insurance premiums are. Because if they're driving safer, they have fewer accidents, fewer incidents on the road, fewer speeding tickets, other violations that impact their insurance. They also are involved in fewer accidents when the drivers are driving more safely. They're not speeding or not driving recklessly. Recently, we had a client that called up and learned through a passerby that one of his vehicles was driving recklessly and actually caused an accident on the road. The owner dug a little further into the data that we were providing and found out that this driver is regularly driving above the speed limit. And so now this business owner has the physical data, hard factual data in the system, to talk to his driver and to coach him to be safer. When you're driving a commercial vehicle on the road, especially a vehicle that has your logo plastered on the side of the vehicle, it's a rolling billboard. You are advertising your business in an effort to attract people that want to subscribe to your services or order your services or buy from you in some way. If those drivers are driving recklessly, business owners find that actually can be a deterrent as well. So they want their drivers to drive respectfully, because what they find is if the driver is driving recklessly, they're also serving their customers recklessly. And that's not good for business. So having each driver drive carefully is a benefit to the business. And so business owners use our data to help them coach and counsel their drivers to be safer on the road, saving the business owner a lot of money. In addition to their reputation, driving the vehicles less aggressively is actually helps on wear and tear of the vehicle. So they may not have to replace the tie rod ends or the shocks or the struts as frequently, because they're driving the vehicles more carefully. So this data helps the business owner extend the life of these vehicles, saving them money, allowing them to reinvest in their business more than spending money on repairs and maintenance and loss of productivity time because a vehicle is in the shop more than it should be. So driver behaviors are an important aspect that's getting a lot of attention lately. And the last area that has been valuable to a lot of businesses is what we call proof of service. And proof of service is an industry terminology that may not be commonplace to most people's vocabulary, but we use it from a standpoint of being able to validate when a vehicle was where they were supposed to be. Think about a snowplow company, prime example. Snowplow companies contract with their customers to either plow on and pay for it on a contract basis for the season or by the month, or on what they refer to as a per push basis. So some businesses, some snowplow companies will sign up season-wide contracts for their customers that will bill them a certain amount of money per month to plow their parking lots. Whether it snows or doesn't snow, they're paying that fixed fee. Other plow companies will bill on a per push basis. So every time they plow, they bill that client. If they plow once a month, they'll bill them a certain rate, each time they plow. So they'll get a different bill depending on how many times they plow. This season here in the Chicagoland area, we didn't have a lot of snow this year. So for those operators that build on a per push basis, they build their clients less than those clients that build on a per contract basis. But there are some years where the per push plow companies will bill more than the contract because if we happen to get a lot of snow. So there's no right or wrong answer on whether or not which method is better. It just depends on the season. However, when you're billing on a per push basis, and the business owner gets a bill, and they get their bill in, let's call it middle of February for January's plowing, they may not recall how many times it snowed or how many inches it snowed. Oftentimes, the agreement is for every 2 inches of snow, the snow plows will plow a parking lot. So the plowing companies obviously pay very close attention to the weather forecast and what the snowfall amount is. But they may plow a parking lot 3 or 4, maybe 5 times on a weekend, depending how much snow is dropped. But by the time the business owner gets the bill, he may not remember how many times it was plowed. So there may be a question of, gee, did you plow 3 times or 5 times that in that month of January? That's for example. So what's really helpful is that the proof of service, the data that we capture from the GPS tracking unit can help the business owner prove to the customer that, yes, we were on site 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and these are the dates and times that we were there plowing your parking lot. So he's proof that they actually plowed as many times as they billed. So what's beneficial here is that the plow company can accurately bill for the time that they actually spent on site. Billing them accurately is really important. But it also helps the customer have confidence that they're billed accurately for the time that they actually had their parking lot plowed. And the same is true for salt dropping. So when a plow company, they plow their parking lot, and when they sprinkle salt, when they drop salt on the parking lot, they turn on their salt spreader that's on the big bin on the back of their truck. Each salt spreader has a rated amount of salt it will drop per minute. And how many pounds of salt will it drop per minute varies on the unit that's on the truck. But the business owner, of course, knows that each truck, which salter is on the truck and how much salt is dropped. They can tell by the tracking data how long that salter was on, and therefore extrapolate how many pounds of salt were dropped on that particular parking lot. And in the contract with the customer, they have a rate that says X number of pounds of salt is X dollars each time we drop it. And so they can very accurately calculate how much salt was actually laid on that parking lot. And then if there's a question about it, they can provide proof that, yes, we actually salted for X number of minutes, and based on that calculation, that's this amount of salt was distributed in your parking lot. So that helps these business owners bill accurately and gives the customer the confidence that they were being billed accurately. So it's a win-win on both sides. Nobody wants to overpay for their services, and no business can afford to underbill for their services. So it just helps everyone be a little bit more accurate, and the data is a very irrefutable method to provide that confidence on both sides of the equation. So proof of service is a really important aspect that we see a lot of businesses utilize with our tracking services. So we're going to take a break here in a minute, hear from our sponsor, which some of you will recognize. But before we do that, I want to encourage anybody that might have vehicles to reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking. If you happen to have commercial vehicles and whether you have tracking today or you do not have tracking, I'd encourage you to reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions to have a conversation with us about your specific situation and how we might be able to help you. I'd love to share with you how the technology could work in your scenario. Every business is a little unique. Every business is different. Every business has their hot buttons, and love to see if our tracking technology would help your business. So reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking. You can find us on the internet at precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com, or call us at 847-865-6008. That's 847-865-6008, or email me at michael@precisefleettracking.com. That's michael@precisefleettracking.com. So I encourage you to reach out to us any way you can, and would love to have a conversation and see if it's a fit. We may not be a fit for everybody, but in most cases we are. I would love to see if we are a fit for you. When we come back, we're going to talk about some specific differences and points of differentiation that Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions offers our clients. This first half of the show, of course, is talking more general about GPS tracking, which I think is an important foundation. But we'll get into a lot more specifics after the break. So stick with us, come back from the commercial, and we'll have a further discussion. So look forward to talking to you in a second, but stay tuned.
Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. I hope you're getting a lot of knowledge from this week's guest. But now a word from our sponsor. If your business uses heavy equipment as part of its daily routine, sadly, I don't need to educate you on the reality that this equipment has been the focus of many local thieves either. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions works with business owners that own commercial vehicles and heavy equipment. We help these business owners enhance their growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. Recovering a stolen asset is just one way we contribute to the bottom line of the business. Our GPS tracking units used in heavy equipment are weather tight so they can handle the elements and even have an internal battery to continue to report its location should the battery in the asset be disconnected. We have several examples of the benefits of GPS tracking in heavy equipment. Reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions for a detailed discussion about our options and to see if it makes sense for your business. You can find Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions at precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. Or call us at 847-865-6008. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. GPS tracking made simple. Now, back to the show.
Okay, we are back. Thank you for sticking with us. I am Michael Drelicharz, host of I Got a Guy podcast. We thank you for tuning in and staying tuned in to us. The first half of the show, we obviously talk a lot about GPS tracking technology, which I'm very passionate about. I've been in this business for over 5 years, and I really love this business. I love the value that we provide small business owners. And the first half of the show, we talked all about GPS tracking technology in a more general sense. The type of value that we provide, that we, as an industry, provide businesses that subscribe to GPS tracking technology. We're going to talk this second half of the show about some key differentiators of how Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions is different than virtually every other company in the field. So a lot of good companies out in the marketplace. I'm a little biased. I believe that Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions is one of the best for a lot of really important reasons that we're going to get to here in just a second. So if you have an interest and you have a need, we'd love to talk to you about how we are different. But let's dig into some details here. First of all, this industry, it's been around for a while. In GPS tracking technology has been in place. The government was using it back in the late 70s, but it was about 25 years ago. So the mid 1990s is when GPS tracking came to the consumer market. It came out of the government sector and came into the private sector. The company I represent, the primary company I represent, is AirIQ. AirIQ is a publicly traded company based in Canada. But AirIQ originally invented a product called LoJack. LoJack was a product, many of you probably recognize the name LoJack. It's still around in the marketplace. AirIQ doesn't own it any longer. But they started with this product. They invented this product. It was sold to new car dealers for recovery of stolen vehicles. They've been enhancing this product ever since. And we're very thankful that they have continued to enhance it. And it's really grown into an amazing variety of devices that we can supply to our customers depending on the needs that they have at that moment. But so I'm happy to be representative of AirIQ. But Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions is an independent company that we're focused on providing tremendous service to our customers. And there's three pillars that we focus on. One is that we are knowledgeable. We strive to grow our knowledge. That the industry continues to evolve, technology evolves, and we share this information with our customers. We believe that we are very accessible. I do take calls on the weekends. We take calls from our customers on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. Oftentimes, when there's an incident that happens, the fact that we're outside the Monday to Friday 9 to 5 is irrelevant to our clients, and our clients know it. They can reach me on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, even on a Sunday afternoon. I take calls 7 days a week from my clients. When they need us, they need us. Fortunately, I don't take a ton of calls on the weekends or in the evenings, but my customers all know that if they have an emergency, they can reach me, and I think that is different than my competition. And we're also very responsive. We do answer the phone after hours. We don't have an overseas call center, and we take a very personalized approach. We do a lot of installs on the weekends. We do installs early in the morning. Sometimes we're on site at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes we're on site late in the afternoon doing installs or making changes, etc. But recently we participated in a trade show. I met a lot of businesses that came up to our trade show booth, and many of them had GPS tracking, which is awesome because they understand the value of GPS. But what we found, which was really remarkable, is most of their concerns, and the reason they stopped to talk to us, is not because they were looking to save money from their current provider, but the reason they were stopping by our booth and talk to us was because they were looking for better service. And most times this is after installation. In most cases, so many of the companies will send them a box of equipment. They'll order services from a company. They'll get a box of equipment, and they have to figure out how to get these things to work. On occasion, the company may send an installer to install these devices in their vehicles. Sometimes they don't work. Getting support from these bigger companies has been difficult for a lot of customers, and there was a lot of growing frustration. We take a very hands-on approach. Even for our customers that are out of state, we are very involved with getting successful, high-quality installations done. We only dispatch the brightest and the most experienced technicians to install these trackers in these vehicles. We work very closely with our customers to make sure that they are comfortable with what is installed, how to utilize it, how to get the most out of these devices. And what we find is that the more they use our devices, the more they use the reports that we generate and dig into the data that we provide, the more benefit they get out of their investment. The more benefit they get, the more loyal they become as customers, which is great for my business. We are very proud to have many customers, been in business for over 5 years. We have some of our first customers are still on board with us, and we're very happy with that. And we continue to add customers each and every month. So we're growing steadily, and we have a very loyal customer base because the service we provide is unmatched. And we've had many customers tell us that. Many customers have been very appreciative and expressed their appreciation for how consistent we are and how willing we are to swing out and pop out to their office and help them with a need, whether it's running reports or
moving equipment from one vehicle to another, or checking on a device that may have been involved in an accident and making sure that the unit is still working correctly. Every now and then we have a unit that needs to be replaced. It doesn't happen very often, but we offer lifetime warranty on our equipment. So if the unit ever fails, we swap the unit out. So the customer doesn't have to worry about buying more units and worrying about expired warranties, etc. So we take very, very focused attention, and we put very focused attention on our customers because we appreciate the loyalty, and we always want to add new customers. We always want to grow our base of customers, but we never want to forget about our loyal customers that have been with us for months and months and years. We want them to feel like they're still very important, because they really are. It is the foundation of our business. So we take a very focused attention on that. We put a lot of attention in that area. The other thing I want to touch on is some new areas that we've been able to help businesses. So we often think about the pickup trucks and the semis driving down the road. We provide the electronic logging for over-the-road trucks. That's been a federal mandate since 2017. And we help a lot of vans and trucks with the tracking and dash cams and standard tracking. But here in the Chicago area, in Illinois, they've had a lot of issues with theft of vehicles and theft of assets. It's really been a significant issue. So we have done more and more protecting assets. And when I want to define these assets, in addition to the pickup trucks and the vans, we have been protecting snowplows and lawnmowers and bobcats, front end loaders, skid steers. So John Deere equipment, Toro equipment, Kubotas, 4-wheel drive, four-wheel off the utility vehicles, off-road vehicles, John Deere Gators, those types of things. Like I said, bobcats and backhoes and things of that nature. Some of these assets owned by these businesses sit on job sites for weeks or months, sometimes depending on the project. And oftentimes business owners find that these things are stolen in the middle of the night or over the weekends. And so we've been putting tracking in a lot of these units and geofencing turned on, so that a business owner or an operations manager will know that, maybe on a weekend, a particular asset is not supposed to move. It's only used Monday through Friday. But he or she may get notification on a Saturday that all of a sudden their bobcat is moving, but they know nobody's on site, so they know that it's being stolen. So they can alert the police to foil that theft, and that's an important aspect. We had a situation where we equipped some equipment, put our trackers in some assets for a local park district. I won't mention a park district; it's not important. But we put some trackers in a park district, some park district equipment, and they had a couple assets stolen. The primary contact texted me. It happened to be 7:08 a.m. I remember this very, very distinctly. I was in front of my computer. I had my phone in my hand. 7:08 a.m. By 7:12, I had identified where the assets were, and by 7:18, the police were on site, recovered the equipment, and the company, the park district, saved this equipment. They were able to recover it and bring it back to their shop. This equipment was used. It was older equipment, but had that park district had to replace the equipment, it would have cost them over $72,000 to replace the equipment. But because I was able to help them identify where the equipment was, and we had just installed, so certainly the customer could find this themselves in the system. But we literally had just installed this equipment a couple weeks earlier, and they weren't real proficient with the software yet. So the value-added service that we provide is that we help these customers get the most out of it, and they won't be penalized because of a learning curve.
So from the day that we install these units, we are helping them track these units if necessary. And so we were able to help them recover these units, and they saved themselves over $72,000 that they would have had to spend to replace these pieces of equipment that are really important to their ongoing business. And so we're very proud of the fact that our technology works really well, and we're able to help these companies recover these assets. And this just happened to be one example that we've been able to provide value. But this is and to my point a few moments ago, this is how our service differentiates. The bigger competitors in the space, bigger names, can't possibly provide this value, this level of service, because they're just, frankly, they're too big. We are a small company, and we are a small company by design. We don't want to be too big. We don't want to be so big that we can't serve our customers. We always want to grow. We always want to add more customers, but we're doing it in a controlled manner because we don't want to lose sight of the value that we provide and the service that we provide our clients. We want to provide everybody the same level of service. Another client happened to be an out-of-state client who uses our technology, and they want to maintain their vehicles better. They've had some issues with driving trucks longer than they're supposed to and not changing the oil as frequently, and that really deteriorates the vehicle. So our GPS tracking technology will monitor the miles driven on a particular vehicle, on each and every vehicle. It'll monitor engine hours for some of the assets of the over-the-road trucks, or it can monitor odometer reading. So if a company wants to change their oil every 5,000 miles, we can monitor the maintenance schedule. We build a maintenance schedule with them, and we'll notify them either via text or email that when a truck is due for an oil change, so they can bring the truck in and maintain it properly. So we actually trained via Zoom. We trained this company how to set up the maintenance monitoring on each of their vehicles, and whether it was for oil changes or tire rotations, tune-ups, that sort of thing. And then we show them how to track and how to log the information when they do provide the service. So we find that it's really been helpful to these businesses because our software is very intuitive, but getting them over that initial hump and getting started with the knowledge and the training, we do a lot of that. So because we really want our customers to utilize the system as thoroughly as possible, because it shows them the value that we provide for a small amount of money every month per unit. They get far more in value than what they spend every month in their payments, their rental of the equipment. Which actually brings me up to two final points here. Couple other things that differentiate us in the marketplace is that we rent our equipment. We don't sell it to our customers. And that's important because companies don't have to make a capital outlay of equipment. They got to buy lots of things in their businesses. I don't want them to have to buy GPS tracking units. I own the units. They buy them. They rent them from me. They don't have to buy them. They rent them from me, pay a monthly fee, and the service is included in that. And our service, us helping them get the most out of that, is all included in the monthly fee that they pay us. These units also carry a lifetime warranty. As long as they're paying for the service every month, they get a warranty on these units. So if the unit ever fails, we swap the unit out. No extra charge. We don't even charge for install. So they'll pay for installation up front when we wire a unit in under the dashboard. But if the unit fails down the road, which doesn't happen very often, but it does happen from time to time, we come out and we swap the unit out. No charge to the customer. We want these units to work. We want them to get the most out of these units. And we want them to not feel like they're getting nickeled and dimed with charges of left and right. It's very straightforward. So our fees are reasonable. Our fees are lower than most companies in the industry, but honestly, we are not the low price leader. I don't want to be the low price leader.
I want to be the highest valued provider. And we are very, very competitive. We are less expensive than all of our bigger competitors. And frankly, we're less than most of our smaller competitors. Every now and then there'll be somebody that will come in a little less expensive. But what we find in most cases is they provide far less service. And it's just a matter of getting a sale and then not paying attention to the customer after that. We pay very close attention to our customers each and every month and stay in contact with our customers and make sure they get the most out of their investment in precise fleet tracking solutions. So we're very proud of that. As I mentioned, three pillars in our business. We are knowledgeable, we are accessible, and we are responsive. And we are responsible. As a small business owner, I understand how businesses have to operate and how sometimes, there's so many moving parts in every business. I don't want our customers to stress about the services that we provide. I know the value that we are providing, and I want them to know that we are here to support them and serve them and make sure that they really appreciate and make sure that they really get all the value they can out of what we do, which helps breed a long-term customer. And that's where this business really grows and how I can continue to provide more services, more value to each and every customer. And we're always looking for ways to grow, always looking for new ways to serve our customers. And so we continually come up with ways to add more value. One way I add value with my clients is that we do look for new technologies. But the other thing is that I have a lot of referral partners. As many of you have met, many of my guests on the episodes in the past have been referral partners, people that I network with in a variety of different networking organizations and gatherings. These are customers and referral partners rather that I refer out to my customers. So I regularly talk to the business owners and ask them what other challenges they may be experiencing, or if they have a need for a payroll company, an insurance agent, financial planner, pest control services, towing operator, you name it. I have a lot of customers and a lot of referral partners that I lean on and I refer out to my customers, and I introduce them left and right. So I do that to help not only my referral partners grow, but my customers grow too. I want them to understand that I really do. I appreciate them. I appreciate their business, and I know the challenges that each and every business goes through, because this is not my first business that I've owned. And I've had the sleepless nights. I've had the stress and the challenges of wearing multiple hats and juggling multiple things at once. I know how that goes. So I appreciate that. I'm not just a salesperson pushing a product, but I'm a business owner trying to help other business owners. So so I say this from a standpoint that if you happen to be listening and you are a small business owner, and even if you have one or two vehicles, and maybe you're not ready for GPS tracking now, but you're curious, I encourage you to give me a call. I'd love to have a conversation with you. We may not be the fit today, but we may be a fit for you 3 months from now or 6 months from now. And I'd rather have a conversation now and plant a seed and have a game plan and knowing when to follow up with you. I won't pester you, won't bother you. If you tell me that we have a conversation and you say, well, you give me a call in 6 months, well, guess what? I'm going to call you in 6 months. Put a note in my CRM and you're going to have a call in 6 months. And if in 6 months you're like, gee, we're still not ready, that's okay. No harm, no foul. We have a quick conversation. Maybe it's a text message, maybe it's an email, but we're going to connect and we're going to continue carrying on. So we are not high pressure. We are not, there is no, we don't do the, hey, gotta buy now. We're not looking to just make a sale. We're looking to provide a service to you, a value,
when and where you think it's most important to your business. And you may have 12 vehicles in your fleet. And you may say, gee, I only want to equip 3 right now to get started. You know what? That's great. We will start with 3. I've had customers that will start out with a trial. They may have 20 vehicles and they start out with 6 or 8. You know what? That's awesome. Great place to start. Let's get started. Let me demonstrate the value that we offer. You may want to expand to the more vehicles in your fleet. You may not. And that's okay. We are not high pressure. We are here about providing value. And I'm confident that once you get a taste of what we can provide in some vehicles, you will add us to the rest of your vehicles in your fleet. But that's your decision, and that's okay. Whatever decision you make, we are here to provide value, and we're very confident. We're very passionate about what we do, and I want to share that with you and with everybody. But we also are humble enough to know that we may not be a fit for everybody in all cases, and that's okay. So I really encourage you, if you have commercial vehicles, let's have a conversation. And I touched on this before the break as well. If you have to, if you, even if you're a business owner or not, if you happen to have youthful drivers in your household, you happen to have kids that are 15 or 16 and getting their license, I really highly encourage you to consider putting tracking in the vehicles that they drive. And I'm going to tell you a story. I had this with my own daughters. When my oldest was turning 16, she had her permit. She got her license right about her 16th birthday. I think maybe on her 16th birthday. And we needed an extra car in the family, so we actually did buy a vehicle at that time. And it was an older used vehicle, but a great, safe, nice little car for her to start driving. And we're standing in the driveway and hand her the keys and say, happy birthday, here's the car you can drive, and you're going to share this with your sister in a couple years, when she is old enough to drive. It was a shared present, but a present nonetheless. And she said, wait a minute, Dad, did you put a tracker in the car? And I said, well, gee, think about this, dear. My business is Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. What do you think? He's like, oh, you put a tracker in my car. I said, yeah, you know what? I did it for one reason, and it's because I love you. And I want to help you be safer on the road. And I did give her an option. I said, you know what? I'm going to be real frank with you. I said, you don't have to drive this car with the tracker in it. I said, if you choose that that's not best for you, I allow you to make that decision. You're 16 years old. I said, because you still have your bicycle. You could ride your bicycle if you wanted. But if you want to drive this car, it's going to have a tracker in it because, I bought the car, I put new tires on it, maintaining it and paying for the insurance and fuel in the tank, etc. And I love you and I really want you to be safe. So it's got this tracker in it. But the reality is that, and I didn't watch it very closely, but when I needed to, I was able to go log on the system and see where she was, see how she was driving. Every now and then I would gently remind her, hey, slow down a little bit. Where are you going? That kind of thing. Nothing too absurd. And it wasn't that I didn't trust her. So I want to make sure that's clear, because somebody did ask me that I must not trust my daughter. And the reality is that couldn't be further from the truth. I totally trust my daughter. Trust both my daughters. But what I want to do is help them be safer on the road. I drive a lot in my business. Last 3 years, I drive about 23,000 miles a year. The last 3 years, about 23 miles each year. 23,000 miles every year. So I drive a lot. I see a lot of crazy things. And of course, in this business, I hear a lot of stories from my customers. There's a lot of crazy people on the road. And some people just simply don't know how to drive properly. So I didn't want to be contributing to that problem. I want my kids to be respectful drivers. And I believe that if they learn how to drive respectfully at 16, 17, 18 years old, they will be better drivers at 26, 27, 28 years old, and better drivers at 36, 37, and 38 years old, etc. They will be better drivers for life because he set the proper foundation up front. And having the tracking in the vehicles help me reaffirm, have confidence that they have the right skills, and help them adjust some areas where they might need some assistance. When my younger daughter started driving, she got a tracker in the car. She's still driving the car that my older daughter got at 16. Now my older daughter has a car of her own, and she's a tracker in that car. So it is now a way of life here in our family. And obviously, being in the business, it's a little easier to justify that, or maybe and to understand that. But I really strongly encourage every family that has youthful drivers to consider this. Again, not because you don't trust them, but because you love them and you want them to be safer. The safer they can be on the road, the better off we all are. And that's what it's all about. And the last point I'll bring up here is it works on the opposite ends of the spectrum as well. If any families have elderly drivers in their families that are still driving on the road, it may not be a bad idea to consider putting a tracking unit in an elderly driver's car. If they happen to have moments where they get confused, which, hopefully if they're getting to that point, they come off the road and they stop driving. But I also know from a reality standpoint that this is it's an evolution. It's not a light switch. It doesn't happen overnight. So if you happen to have elderly people in your family and you're concerned about whether or not they may get confused and may get lost or turn around, and you want to know where they are, you can put a tracking unit in their vehicle. It's not very expensive, and you'll have some confidence. And you can even, if you know that your elderly family member may not drive outside of your local town, you can put a geofence in that general area. And when they cross the boundary, maybe the town lines, or generally speaking, they leave that area, you can be notified that the car just left the area, and you'll be alerted. It's like, gee, this is not normal. Wonder if there's something, maybe I need to get involved here. So again, we don't want to. I'm not suggesting that we crimp the wings of our seniors, and want them to have their independence as long as possible. But the reality is that sometimes our seniors need some help, and as those of us responsible for our seniors, it may help you, if they are on the road, have some confidence that they are in fact safe. So I would love to have a conversation with you if you have youthful drivers in your household, or if you have elderly drivers that you just want to be confident that they're being safe. And the name of the game with our GPS tracking is safety. Business owners and individuals alike, the more we can help every vehicle be safe on the road, the better it is for everybody involved, bystanders, and the drivers and the passengers alike. So I encourage you to reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. Let's have a conversation and see how we can help. So again, I want to wrap this show up here. Thank you all again for allowing me to be the guest this week. I do obviously have a commercial that runs every week on our episodes, and I do put a little plug in at the end of our shows. But most of the shows I do want to focus on my guests. And today I just thought it'd be good to have a conversation with you all about a little more in-depth conversation about the value that we provide our business owners and our families with the tracking technology that we provide. And I'm very passionate about this, and I love this business, and I'm just very thankful that I'm in this business and be able to help so many individuals and businesses alike. So if you have any questions, you want to have a conversation, absolutely no obligation, reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. You can find us on the internet at precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. Call us at 847-865-6008. That's 847-865-6008. Or email me at michael@precisefleettracking.com. That's michael@precisefleettracking.com. So please reach out to us. Let me know if you do reach out to me, and I hope you all do. Let me know that you heard about us here, and I love to hear from our listeners when you listen to our episodes.
send me an email, send me a text message, send me a note. Would love to hear from you and know that you're getting value from the show that we're producing each and every week. I love doing this. I love being on I Got a Guy podcast. I'm really glad that I came about this concept after reading the book, The Go Giver, and love to help everyone grow. So I'm going to sign off for this week. I want to thank you all for listening. Encourage you to share this episode with your coworkers, your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your business partners, etc., your bosses. And I encourage you to subscribe to this episode, listen to our past episodes, go to iGotAGuyPodcast.com, and check back with us again next week as we'll have another new episode. So thank you all, and make it a great week. Take care.
Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. For past podcasts and more information, go to iGotAGuyPodcast.com. That's iGotAGuyPodcast.com. Please share this podcast on your social media feeds and tune in again next week to I Got a Guy podcast.